Welcome back to Rye Votes. The votes are in and the election has been called by CBC and CTV, and our panel was right. The Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau, has been named the winner of this election. It is the first time in history a party has gone from third place to first place for a single election. For those just joining us, I'm Nadine Habib, and I'll be keeping you updated on tonight's election news. The results are in, and we're just getting closer and closer to finding out more information. But official confirmation has yet to arrive from for the elections, but CBC and CTV have called it for Justin Trudeau. Now we're going down to Victoria Chan in the newsroom for our local results.
Thanks, Nadine. So it's still early on in the night, but let's break down the seat count for the GTA area that we have so far, comparing it to 2011. So just some context here. Basically, in 2011, the city of Toronto was fairly evenly split. We have 9 seats for the Conservatives, 8 for the NDP, 6 for the Liberals, 0 for the Green Party. And the Conservatives were fairly strong in North York, Etobicoke, and to a lesser extent Scarborough, while the NDP is pretty strong downtown along the shores of Lake Ontario. Now, the Liberals, riding high in the polls, are looking to sweep the Conservatives out and steal most of those downtown NDP seats. So I actually didn't get a chance to talk about Toronto Danforth with you, so I'm just going to give you some background information on this riding since it's still early on in the night. So the first MP who was elected in this riding was Bob Ray, who ran for the NDP. Just a basic fact here, the NDP party has kept this seat until 1988 when they were defeated by Liberal candidate Dennis Mills. The Liberals held the seat until 2004 when they were defeated by Jack Layton. So here we have Craig Scott. Scott has been MP in this riding since 2012. He replaced Jack Layton after he won in a by-election in that year, and he garnered around 60% of the vote. So we can give you a little bit more information about all of these candidates. Julie DeBrusen for the Liberals, Chris Tolley for the Green Party, and Benjamin Dichter for the Conservatives. I just have a really fun fact about Benjamin Dichter. He replaced Conservative candidate Tim Dutoit in early September. Allegedly, Dutoit was found on YouTube making prank phone calls to customer service reps and mocking people with disabilities. So he's out of the game. This guy here is replacing him. We do not have the results so far, but I will have them as soon as we get them. Back to you in the newsroom, Nadine.
Thanks, Victoria. Now let's check in with the riding of Toronto Centre, where our reporter Kaya Berkeley is following Liberal Bill Morneau. Kaya, we just found out that Justin Trudeau has been named and been called for the election. What's the environment like over there?
Yeah, well, the funny thing was I watched while that projection was made, and I was expecting like a big moment with everybody applauding and cheering, but I think it kind of went unnoticed. I think people were so busy just chatting, catching up. There's a lot of hors d'oeuvres going around. Nobody actually seemed to notice. So it was an interesting moment. And in the last 15 minutes or so, the crowd has really picked up. So we're seeing a lot of people streaming in now. There are some kids here, some older people, people in business suits, a lot of people now sporting a Bill Morneau t-shirt. But we've yet to see the candidate himself make an appearance. So I think everybody's kind of waiting for that moment to happen.
Wow, and so how many people were there before and how many people are there now?
Yeah, I would say when we first arrived, we were one of maybe 5 people here. And now I would say the crowd is getting closer to maybe 75 people. And there's definitely a feeling of anticipation as everybody waits for more results to come in.
That's amazing.
And,
yeah.
for more notes to come.
Thanks, Kaya. Sounds exciting.
All right, thank you.
Moving on now to issues that matter with a look at the controversial C-51. Alicia Grodkowska explains who supports it and who plans to change it. Alicia?
Thanks, Nadine. We're going to turn our attention now to a piece of legislation that's been coming up over and over again during this election, Bill C-51. And even if you don't know what it is, you've probably heard the name come up in the media. The controversial bill was introduced in January by the Conservative government and has also been called the Anti-Terrorism Act. The bill has enacted the Security of Canada Information Act. This will allow government institutions to disclose information to the government that aims to undermine the security of Canada. The bill will also enact the Secure Air Travel Act to protect travelers from those who potentially pose a threat to transportation securities or who might be engaged in terrorism. Response to the bill has been loud. Canadians from across the country protested against the bill in major cities like Halifax, Ottawa, Calgary, and Vancouver. Party leaders have also been outspoken about Bill C-51.
I would like to know if the government House Leader knows the difference between oversight, review, and issuing a warrant. They are three entirely different concepts. Bill C-51 does not contain any judicial oversight.
If you're an environmental group protesting against something that the government could decree within the economic interest of the country, are you going to be put in the slammer? That was not an unreasonable reading of this bill, as far as we were concerned.
Justin Trudeau, on the other hand, has defended the bill, but he says that the Liberals would make amendments, like ensuring that the Canadian Security Intelligence Service does not have police powers. Coming up next, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What have parties promised to do with the report? You can read up on the issue right now on the Ryersonian website, and we'll have more details later. Nadine.
Thanks, Alicia. Now we're going to take a look at the national seat count before we go to Angus Mulroney. As you can see, the Conservatives have 22 seats, NDP 7, the Liberals with 56, for a total of 85 seats for the national seat count currently. We'll bring you more up-to-date information soon. Now let's check in again with Angus Mulroney. Hi, Angus.
Hi, Nadine.
So what's the atmosphere there like?
Well, it's gotten a little bit subdued, I must say. This is an NDP candidate's party, and as you know, recently news outlets are reporting that Justin Trudeau will form the next government. It's too early to tell if he's going to form a minority government or a majority government, but I can say, as I am in an NDP candidate's event, everyone's a little bit quiet. They're watching the TV. We still don't know exactly who is going to take the MP seat in this particular riding, but that's going to play out very soon.
And what's your feeling? How do you feel like it's going to play out for the riding?
You know, it's really still too early to tell. There are a lot of supporters here now, but yes, it's too early to tell this point in the evening. We should be knowing that in the next hour or less.
Okay, and what was Jennifer's reaction when the news broke?
She has yet to come to the location I am at. I've been watching her Twitter, though, all evening, and she's been tweet-picking quite regularly that she's still out and about in the riding. The polls have only recently closed, so I'm sure she'll be here very soon.
Thanks, Angus. It looks like it's going to be a really tight race over there.
Thanks, Nadine.
Thanks. Now let's check in with Victoria Chan again with more updates on where the vote count sits now. Victoria?
Thanks, Nadine. So I'm going to be giving you some background information about the seats in 2011 and the seats this year. We're focusing on the Toronto region as well as the 905 region. And a lot of people are saying that the 905 region is crucial for the Liberal or Conservative win. I'm just going to give you some background information about the Toronto region. So in 2011, the City of Toronto was fairly evenly split. 8 seats for the Conservatives, 8 for the NDP, and 6 for the Liberals. The Conservatives were pretty strong in areas such as North York, Etobicoke, and to a lesser extent Scarborough, while the NDP was quite strong downtown along the shores of Lake Ontario. Now the Liberals are riding high in the polls. They're looking to sweep the Conservatives out and steal most of those downtown NDP seats. So in the 905 region, one really interesting to note is that there's been 9 seats added here. In 2011, there were 20 seats. Now there are 29 seats in total. A lot of commentators are saying that this is the key swing region that will decide whether the Liberals or Conservatives win the election. The Conservatives won all but one riding in 2011 last time, but polls suggest they're set to get the Lions' share of the seats this time. Who knows, though? This is a Liberal-Conservative race in almost all ridings, with the NDP very marginal at less than 20%. So Once again, I haven't paid much attention to Toronto Centre, which is where we're at. I think it's good to give a little bit more background information. It's traditionally known as a Liberal riding. Once again, it's been locked down by the party for over 20 years. Linda McQuaig is an NDP candidate. She's lost to Liberal incumbent Chrystia Freeland in a 2013 by-election, but she's giving it another go. So in this riding, we're really going to have to see what happens. A lot of people are saying it's a two-way race between the NDP and the Liberals. I've given you lots of information here, but we will have an update for you shortly for the results. Back to you, Nadine.
Thanks, Victoria. Now, before we go to our reporter Kira Wakim, we have an updated national board that we're going to show to you now. As you can see, the Liberals now have 100 seats, while NDP has 12 and Conservatives with 62. We'll be bringing you more as the results roll in. Now, with another reporter from the field, let's check in with Kira Wakim. She's monitoring the situation from the ground at Spadina Fort York tonight. Kira, hi, are you with us?
Hi, Nadine, I'm here.
Hi there. So we just found out that Justin Trudeau has been declared as the winner of the 42nd general election. What was the reaction over there like?
Wow, well, I think people here are concerned, but they haven't found out what their results are in terms of Olivia versus Adam Vaughan. So I think they're still waiting. I mean, obviously, it's an upset. And actually, Joe Cressy is here, and as is Mike Layton, who is Jack Layton's son, who Olivia Chow is his widow. They're all here, members of the NDP. And obviously, it's a disappointment, but everyone's sort of holding out to see what happens for Olivia.
All right, great. And how are you feeling about the riding? How do you think it's going to turn out?
Well, so far, it's not looking great. Vaughan is leading, but only 2 polls are in at the moment. So again, it's not looking great so far, but only 2 polls, so it could go any which way at this point.
All right. Thanks so much, Kira.
Thank you.
Now let's check in with Peter Goffin in our expert panel. Peter, it looks like a good night for the Liberals. Tell us about the role the economy played in this campaign.
Thanks, Nadine. We're already seeing plenty of speculation that this could be a Liberal majority tonight. That would represent a major shift in government spending and taxation. Now, panelists, what do you think it is about the Liberals' economic platform that has garnered them so much support so far?
I think it's probably the spending, the infrastructure. When they came out and said that they were going to run at least 4 years of deficits, I think people actually liked that, which is a surprise. It was a big gamble, but it worked because we probably had 9 years of fiscal restraint. That's, I think, why. And a weak economy right now.
Yeah, I think the Conservatives came out saying this is what we're going to do, instead of really saying this is what we've done for the past 10 years. They have very little record to show for 10 years of government, and I think Justin Trudeau came out strong, and he came out hard, and it resonated with people. When we have a youth unemployment rate of 13.1% right now, that's resonating with the youth vote, and the youth vote is coming out right now, and so I think this all worked very well for him.
I think another thing is, Justin Trudeau's vowed to give tax cuts to the middle class and wants to strengthen the middle class and sort of raise taxes for the 1%. And I think, that's something that people could use in this country right now as well, and people want to broaden the middle class. So I think that definitely resonated as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, there was actually a Stephen Harper campaign ad that surfaced in the sort of just at the end of the campaign period, in which he says that the election is not about personalities, it's about the economy, and that the Conservatives, regardless of what you think of Stephen Harper, are the party to fix the economy. What do you think it is about the Conservatives' record that has sort of turned people off of their treatment of economic issues?
Well, I think people are really starting to understand that the Conservatives haven't been the greatest fiscal managers in our history of our country. Since the 50s, they have been running bigger and larger deficits than most other federal governments. And we're seeing the tanking of the Canadian dollar. We're seeing oil sand issues out west, and this is just resonating with people that are just tired of the same old, and they don't want another 5 years of it. I can assure you that.
However, I do think it in a little bit of fairness, I think you have to look at other factors in terms of the price of oil and other factors of why the dollar is so low. But yeah, I agree. Most people look at it and see mismanagement, and that's just sort of
Yeah, and something else that'll be interesting in regards to the environment, you kind of mentioned the oil sands, and we're talking about the economy, is how that's going to change. You know, what is a Liberal government going to bring to Alberta? And that really affects everyone. I'm from Nova Scotia, and I can tell you that most of the people who live there, who have, you know, good paying jobs, live out west. They travel back and forth. So this is not just an Alberta issue. This could be an issue that affects employment across the country.
What I'm interested to see is the Liberals, with the recent Trans-Pacific Partnership, the Liberals have said that they might support it, but they haven't fully embraced it. So I'm interested to see sort of how that goes in some of their policies on these issues that will affect our economy quite a bit.
Which raises a good point. Now, the big question, of course, is can the Liberals fix our economy in the way that people seem to expect they can?
Well, I think that the thing is with our economy is it's largely based on the demand for our goods. We have a lot of oil, we have water, so I don't think that any government can just fix it based on policy alone. There's a lot of factors, but they look like they have a good plan to try. So.
And they want something new, right? 9 years hasn't really brought a whole lot of change. We're not, people ask themselves, how much better are we than before 2006? What's the answer, right? Like.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are ready for change. It's what's been coming out, and I think tonight this is what we're seeing. Like right now, I think we're in that territory that we projected at the beginning of the night, where we're looking at, you know, a very, very strong minority and most likely a majority situation for the Liberals tonight.
Now, unfortunately, we could talk about this all night. There's so much to say, but I'm going to have to cut you off. We will be coming back to you as we get more results in, and it looks like we'll be seeing more Liberal seats won as we get Ontario results back. Nadine, back to you.
Thanks so much, Peter. Now let's check in on the riding of Eglinton Lawrence. Adina Ali is on the ground at Joe Oliver's election party. Adina, are you seeing reactions to projections for a Liberal government, or for the Liberal government that was declared by CBC and CTV as the winner?
Hi, Nadine. So we are seeing the Liberals leading overall, but Joe Oliver is actually in the lead right now. Some early numbers are just coming out. So Joe Oliver is in the lead in this riding. But if the Liberal lead continues, which it will, this might trend, or this might be mirrored in this riding and might turn into a major upset for Joe Oliver. So we're still waiting. Early numbers are just coming in.
Okay, great. And what's the atmosphere like over there?
It's getting a little more buzzy. More people are coming in, more people are drinking, so it's getting a little bit more exciting now that results are coming in.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Adina. We'll tune in with you later.
Thanks, Nadine.
And now, time for a social media update from Yasmin Mataran. Yasmin?
Thanks, Nadine. It's interesting that while in the U.S., endorsements during elections usually come in the form of celebrities, in this year's federal election, what we saw trending was endorsements from news outlets. So many people are calling this an act of bigotry and shameful on Canadian news outlets. The most notable moment during this election was when the Globe and Mail publicly endorsed the Tories, but not Stephen Harper. A number of people took to Twitter to mock the Globe and Mail's stance. So let's take a look at some of those tweets. Ben Barn tweets, "I endorse the Globe and Mail, but not the Mail." And Dan Delamar on Twitter says, "Globe and Mail endorses Mary Kate, but not Ashley Olsen." So there were tons of tweets under that hashtag, more Globe endorsements. And now a number of other outlets, news outlets, did the same thing. Newspaper La Presse publicly endorsed Justin Trudeau. The Ottawa Citizen and the Vancouver Sun endorsed the Conservatives in a full front page ad in yellow saying, "Voting Liberal will cost you." Now, these were pretty popular online, and now this resulted to a lot of people calling this a case of the yellow stain on Canadian democracy. Now, even I think Strombolopoulos also tweeted on this, as you can see. And so now, the National Post editor, earlier this morning, the editor of editorials, Andrew Coyne, announced a semi-resignation, calling it a professional disagreement with news executives. And you can see his tweet here. So anyway, I have resigned as editor of editorials and comment for the National Post. Effective immediately, I will remain a columnist. And that's all for a segment, and more on social in a few minutes. Thanks, Nadine.
Thanks, Yasmin. The results are coming in fast, and we've got you covered. It looks like Canada will have a change of leadership. But before we get to that, we're going to look at the result boards for coming out of Quebec now. As you can see in Outremont, Rachel Bendian for the Liberal government is leading with 17 votes, while Tom Auclair, who this is his riding, only has 9. And Papignon, of course, Justin Trudeau, that's Justin Trudeau's riding, he is leading with 16. Now we'll be back in 5 minutes with even more on the federal election. Stay tuned.